Hi, my name is Cheyenne Stevens, and I'm the Living Well Coordinator for Madison. And today I am here with Patricia O. Patricia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Patricia O, and I work with all of the age-friendly communities in Maine who are part of the Aarp network of age-friendly states and communities.
What made you choose to be involved with AARP and the age-friendly community?
Age-friendly communities are great places for people to enjoy their best lives. I was a community social worker for a number of years, and I saw that environment really does matter. So if we don't have the ability to get into the local library, it's really hard to join a book group. And if we're isolated, it helps when a community can come together to address, for example, the problem of social isolation, because that is likely to give me more opportunities to be socially connected. So that's the reason I got involved in the work.
Well, that's really good of you. Can you explain the impact and difference that being an age-friendly community has on a community?
Thank you. That's a great question, Cheyenne. I almost feel like we should have your town manager in here answering that question as well. So an age-friendly community really is a place that encourages active and engaged aging. And communities benefit when people of all ages are fully involved in community life. If, for example, you have an after-school program that's looking for volunteers, it's nice when you can tap into some of those older volunteers in your community who may just love an opportunity to be able to work with young children. When we think about the physical environment, which I know a lot of our communities are working on making physical environments that are easier for people who may be using a walker or a wheelchair to be able to get around in town. Any sidewalk or nature path that's easy for somebody to use who is using a wheelchair or walker is also going to be easier for that 6-year-old who's carrying a heavy backpack to school in the morning. And it's also going to be easier for a mom with a stroller. Some of the other things that you might see in an age-friendly community are, a menu with big pictures and nice clear font, which means that that restaurant now has a way to engage older people and to welcome them and their dollars into their restaurant. You may have a community garden that brings older and younger people together. So there are a lot of things that just build a stronger community in an age-friendly community, and that benefits the community itself. We grow stronger when we're together.
I agree with you there. Why are age-friendly communities becoming so common?
I think Maine is a really unique place. I've been a Mainer my whole life, and I love Maine, so forgive me if I brag a little bit about Maine. But we have a very long history of neighbor helping neighbor and developing really innovative solutions to the problems that we face as a community. Think about those old-fashioned barn raisings and all of that that's been going on for ages and ages. So I think now we're at a time where people have the words for an age-friendly community, and they're thinking, hey, we've been doing that forever. We've been helping our neighbors. We just want to find a way to be more inclusive as we're doing that. So I think it's because it just really fits well with the way Mainers tend to see ourselves.
And the population in Maine is a lot older compared to other states as well. So
it is. You're absolutely right, Cheyenne. We are the oldest population, both by percentage of people who are over the age of 65, as well as looking at median age. So we're actually older than Florida, which kind of surprises people sometimes. Right now, a 10-year-old child has a 50% chance of living to be 100. And that's the good news, because it's a population health success story. Now that we have all these older folks that are in our communities that bring a lifetime of experience making change in the community, who have gathered skills over a lifetime, all of that can be put to work to make the community a better place. Aging, so not everybody who's over the age of 60 is somebody who is frail or who is isolated or is any of those things. So as we look at the diversity of the aging experience, not only are we older, but we also have a very diverse aging experience. So we have young people who are just newly retiring. We have people who are moving from out of state to come here to retire, and everybody wants to be able to contribute. So again, that adds to the sense of an age-friendly community.
Do you have any examples of where you have seen an older adult directly impacted on being in an age-friendly community?
Yes, there are a lot of examples. One of the examples, so there are advantages for people who are living in an age-friendly community, who are involved in the age-friendly work, both the volunteers who are engaged in the work as well as the people who are receiving services. So, for example, looking sort of at that inclusion piece first, they're in a community that I know a little bit about. There's an older lady there in town. She moved into town in the 1970s. And this lady was somebody who was a change maker. She was responsible for renovating some for gathering community support, for renovating some old buildings, for getting the library into a permanent structure. Just when you said her name in that community, everybody really liked her a lot and recognized the contribution that she was making to the community. Really somebody who was important for people of all ages. Well, one day I was walking out of a meeting with the age-friendly committee in that particular community, and she was walking up the stairs, and she said, I'm so glad that they started doing this. And I said, why? And she said, because now I know that I don't hang up my shingle when I turn 70. I can still be actively engaged in the community. I can still make a difference. I can still do things in that community. About 2 years ago, she got the Historical Society behind a move to start the very first community center in that community. So if she had hung up her shingle at 70, they would never have had that benefit of that community center. So that's a real benefit for her. Other people have benefited from, for example, snow shoveling programs. There's a number of snow shoveling programs where younger people will come in and shovel the sidewalk for people, which makes it a lot safer for them to be able to leave their home. Several of the communities actually have started programs where they have volunteers who will come into your home and change light bulbs or change out like an air conditioner or something like that, the sort of seasonal things that we need to do. Some of those communities will also help you connect up to Alexa so that you can have an automatic way of turning your lights on and off, all that sort of thing. Those residents certainly have benefited from being in those communities. A number of communities have really focused on social participation, in Saco and in Deer Isle both, they started something called creativity circles that specifically looked at engaging people who are socially isolated in the creative arts as a way of getting them to have an opportunity to share with their neighbors. In another community, they started an outdoor walking group. I could go on about this stuff forever. They started an outdoor walking group, and what they found out is the walking group was great. It got people some physical activity, which was a good thing, but the real benefit of that outdoor walking group was the social connections that people were making. And of course, in the winter, they moved it to be an indoor walking group. So lots of advantages to residents who participate in the programs as well as for volunteers who are making those changes.
That's definitely a lot of ways that a community can be helped, and it's great to hear your examples. Do you think that a lot more Maine communities will be becoming age-friendly over the next few years?
I think so. We get calls, and I get emails all the time. Some communities join the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities and or the WHO global network of age-friendly cities and communities. But not all communities take that path. Some of them will just sort of follow the pattern and be making those changes without formally joining a network. And that's okay. What really matters is that the community is trying to become more inclusive, more age inclusive, as well as ability inclusive.
Is there anything else that you would like to add today?
Well, I just want to say that I think Madison is a great community. It's been really exciting to see Madison start on its age-friendly journey. You did a fabulous job with your assessment and developing your plan. I actually share Madison's age-friendly action plan with people throughout the state and even outside of our state with other rural communities as a great example of a really well-written plan that is deeply, deeply embedded in the community. And that's what these efforts are. These are really grassroots efforts for the community to make the community a better place to live. And that is so well reflected in your action plan. The work that you did putting together the windows last year was amazing, and I know that that really had a nice positive impact on a number of your residents. The fact that they have now invested in an age-friendly coordinator, it's going to be really exciting to see this work take off. So Cheyenne, out of curiosity, what do you see for the next year in age-friendly Madison? I'm turning this over on you.
That's completely okay. For me, being in this position, what I want to see is residents to become aware that Madison is an age-friendly community, what that means, and what resources are available, and who to come to get help. And by doing these videos and interviewing people and making them more aware, the viewers more aware, that will really help the word get out there. And I really want to be that person to, first of all, make connections with the community and then address issues or concerns that older adults may have or anybody in the community may have. I want to be a resource for Madison as a whole. And I'd really like to take off with that.
It's great to see Madison engage you to get you involved in the work, and it will be very exciting to see where it goes. I can't wait to hear your update a year from now.
I can't wait to give it to you. Well, thank you, Patricha.
Thank you, Cheyenne.